Hola Spain lovers, Stuart here with another video, and if you're thinking of visiting Spain, you're in for an amazing experience. But here's the thing, choosing when to visit Spain can make or break your trip. If you come at the wrong time, you might find yourself dealing with unbearable heat, closed businesses, or overpriced hotels and restaurants. So in this video, I'll break down the best and worst times to visit Spain based on seasons, crowds, weather, and even food. So let's jump in. So when is the best time to visit Spain? Let's break it down into seasons, shall we? So let's start with the season that we are currently in, spring, and this is an ideal time for visiting Spain if you're interested in visiting cities and also the cultural side of the country. And the reason why it's the perfect time for that type of tourism is to do with the weather. It's not too hot and it's not too cold. It's absolutely perfect. And another thing is that a lot of Spanish cities are not too crowded at this time of year, so you can enjoy cities in the south of the country like Seville or Cordoba without the masses of people. Lots of major events are also taking place during the springtime here in Spain. For example, in Seville, the Semana Santa, or the Holy Week down there, is taking place at Easter, of course. And all over the country, you'll find various events taking place during the springtime here. And it's also the perfect time to visit some of the hotter parts of the country, for example, Andalusia, before the summer kicks in. And believe me, you don't want to be in some parts of Andalusia during those summer months if you can avoid it. But you'll also need to keep in mind that during some of the major festivals here, prices will go up, so that could be an inconvenience, and also the amount of people that flock to these important cultural events, like the one that I said before, the Holy Week in Seville. Keep that in mind as well. Now, the next season we need to talk about is summer, so let's get stuck into that one. Now, let's be honest, when a lot of people think of Spain, they think of beaches, they think of sun, they think of sangria, and they think of everything related to summer. But beware, because a lot of places here in Spain during the peak summer months of July and August are incredibly hot. Difficult to explain just how hot it can get in some parts of the country, but believe me, it gets hot. So it's great if you're planning on coming to Spain to go to the beach, but if you want to do other types of tourism in this country, you might find it a little bit too hot for that. Now, if you are planning on coming to Spain during the summer months, I recommend coming late June, early July, because that way you'll also beat the crowds. Because believe me, all of the coastal resorts here in Spain, all of the beaches on the east coast and the south coast of the country get very, very busy from the middle of July onwards, and the month of August, it's almost unbearable. And the month of August here in Spain is when the majority of locals take their holidays too. So not only are you going to have to put up with foreign tourists, but also local tourists when you hit those beach hotspots during the month of August. And did I mention the heat and just how hot it can get in some parts of Spain during the months of July and August? For example, in the south of Spain, famous cities like Cordoba and Seville can get into the 40s. Also, Madrid can be a very, very hot city. In fact, everywhere in central Spain, like for example where I am here now, can get very, very hot into the high 30s during those peak summer months. And basically, you can't do anything in the mid hours of the day. From 11 o'clock in the morning through to 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, there's not much you can do because of the extreme heat. And you won't see any locals out during that time either, because they stay indoors. So keep that in mind. But if you like hot weather and you are planning on coming to Spain during the months of July and August, then you won't be disappointed, I don't think, because Spain does have fantastic beaches, fantastic infrastructure at the beach resorts around the country. And there's also lots of important festivals taking place during those months too. Lots of important music festivals, so you can come here, go to the beach, see your favorite bands, and really enjoy yourself in Spain, because Spain at the end of the day is a party country, and the country really lets its hair down in the summer months. So that's a pro. Now let's talk about the autumn months here in Spain, or the fall months here in Spain, which a lot of people think are the perfect balance. And the main reason is again because of the weather. Those hot summer months have gone, the weather is starting to cool down, and you can enjoy everything that Spain has to offer. There's also fewer tourists roaming about, and that means cheaper flights and cheaper hotels. And it's also the perfect time to visit Spain if you are a wine lover. It's grape harvest season and fantastic to visit the many vineyards around the country, especially in some of the more well-known vineyards up in places like La Rioja and the Ribera del Duero region. And if you're planning on going to northern Spain, a month like October, for example, is perfect for that. It's not too cold yet, it's not too wet yet in that part of Spain, and as I mentioned before, there are fewer tourists roaming around. And personally, the months of October and November here in Spain are my favorite months for traveling around the country, as I said, especially to the north. Now, time to talk about the winter months when it comes to visiting Spain, and basically winter here can be summed up with very few words: budget-friendly and festive. If you're coming to Spain on a budget, definitely the best time to visit the country is during those winter months, because everything, and I mean everything, is a whole lot cheaper. Hotels and accommodation are cheaper, flights are cheaper, so you can save a lot of money visiting during the months of December, January and February. However, keep in mind that there are some important public holidays during the month of December, early December, and also around that Christmas period as well, and prices could go up. So I reckon mid-December or sometime during January would be the best time to take advantage of cheaper prices. And if you love skiing and the snow, of course winter is going to be the best time to visit Spain. And although many people might not know this, Spain does have some world-class ski resorts. Think the Pyrenees in the north of the country, and in the south of the country, Sierra Nevada in the province of Granada. Very, very good skiing conditions. And if you're after a bit of sun and good weather during those winter months, you can always head to the Canary Islands and warm up, because the temperatures down there are absolutely fantastic during the months of December, January and February, especially compared to central Spain where we are now, where it can get very, very chilly. Okay, so we've spoken about the best times to visit Spain. Now let's talk about the times that perhaps you don't want to visit this country. Starting with the month of August, and the reason why you shouldn't visit Spain in the month of August boils down basically to two things. One is the heat, and the other thing is the amount of tourists. As I also said before, some of the interior cities here in Spain, but also some of the most popular tourist spots, think Seville in the south, Cordoba in the south, Madrid in the center of the country, are terribly, terribly hot. And another thing is that a lot of businesses in cities like the ones that I just mentioned shut down in the month of August, because people take their holidays and they abandon the cities, head to cooler climates, and therefore you can't get many things done. A lot of the tourist hotspots, especially in the coastal parts of the country, are crowded with people, and everything, and I mean everything, goes up in price. Another time to avoid Spain, in my opinion, would be during the Holy Week. Here, the Semana Santa, especially in places like Seville, that is, if you're not into religious processions and crowds of people. If you're coming to Spain for religious reasons, forget everything that I have just said, because you'd want to see all of the processions and things like that. But if you're coming to Spain for sightseeing, to look at the sights and to avoid the crowds, then Holy Week might not be for you. And again, prices do go up at that time of year. Another bad time to visit Spain is during major public holidays, and believe me, there are a lot of major public holidays celebrated in this country. In the month of May, there are 2 or 3 public holidays depending on where you are, and the month of December has many public holidays. For example, at the beginning of December, there are 2 important holidays. Sometimes people even take the whole week off to celebrate, because they can, depending on how the days fall. And also during that Christmas period here, there are lots of public holidays. So those are times when I personally would not visit Spain. And another time of the year that you might not want to visit Spain are during those winter months when it can be quite cold, and you might also find some places quite deserted, especially the coastal parts of the country. Some of the coastal towns and cities are completely deserted at that time of the year, and there won't be much life there and not many things going on. And also, if you're planning a trip to the north of Spain, I wouldn't recommend going to that part of Spain during the peak winter months, the months of December and January, or also parts of February, because it can be quite cold and it rains quite a lot. Places like Galicia, Cantabria, Asturias, and also the Basque Country, I wouldn't recommend going there, as I said, in the months of December and January, unless you absolutely have to. Now, let's talk about one of my favourite topics, the topic of food. Spain has fantastic food, but a lot of the great food in this country is seasonal, so it's going to be important to visit at the correct times of the year to enjoy certain dishes and certain fantastic foods. For example, during the spring months, you can enjoy fresh seafood, artichokes, strawberries, and calçots, which are grilled green onions in Catalonia. The summer months in Spain are also fantastic for food. Think of refreshing gazpacho, salmorejo, and grilled sardines and other fish dishes. In the autumn months or the fall months, think of mushrooms, chestnuts, game meats, and Spain's famous wine harvest season. And in the winter months, in the colder months, think hearty stews like cocido madrileño or fabada asturiana. And don't forget churros con chocolate. So, time to wrap this video up, and also to sum up the best times to visit Spain, of course, in my opinion. Now, if you love beaches and hot weather, July and August are the best times for you. If you want to explore the cities here in Spain, visit all of the monuments, then spring and autumn. And if you are on a budget, the winter months are the best time for you, except for Christmas. So plan your trip around Spain's seasons and what you want to experience. Whether it's cultural festivals, food, or just the best weather, Spain has something for everyone, but at the right time. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. I would love to hear your thoughts on when the best time to visit Spain is. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. Become a subscriber of the channel, help keep the channel growing, and turn on notifications too so that you never miss a video when I post it. I'll see you on the next one. Hasta luego from sunny Spain.